How often should you bathe after 70 when cleanliness becomes understanding? Have you ever noticed that as the years pass, your body quietly begins to change, your skin gets drier, your sleep becomes lighter, and even a warm bath no longer feels quite as comforting as it used to? I used to believe that showering every day was the key to good health. But after watching my father feel exhausted from a single hot shower, I realized staying healthy isn't about bathing more, it's about bathing wisely. Most people don't realize that frequent bathing can weaken aging skin, cause infections, or even increase the risk of slipping in the very bathroom we trust. So today, I want to share a small story about why bathing less can actually help the elderly live longer, stay calmer, and feel happier. And as always, if stories like this bring you a little meaning, please subscribe, share, and turn on notifications for the Slow Living channel. Your simple support is what gives me the motivation to keep telling these quiet stories for those learning to live slower, gentler, and closer to themselves. Part 1, Skin After 70, From Armor to Silk. When I was young, I thought skin was just a surface, you washed it and it was clean. But as I grew older, I learned that our skin isn't just a cover, it's a fragile armor that protects us. After 70, that armor turns as delicate as silk. A little too much hot water, a bit too much soap, and the skin stings, cracks, or itches all day long. I remember seeing my father after a bath, his skin flushed red as his trembling hands rubbed in lotion. He sighed, "If I skip a bath, I feel uneasy, but every time I bathe, I feel drained." It made me realize, maybe the body isn't getting weaker, maybe we just haven't learned how to care for it differently. After 70, the body needs more preservation than purification. Aging skin produces less oil, the fat layer beneath it thins, and its ability to heal slows down. Every long shower doesn't just wash away dirt, it washes away the skin's natural oils, its quiet protection. If there's one thing I've learned from my father, it's this. Sometimes, stopping a little sooner is an act of love for yourself. Because after 70, the skin doesn't need scrubbing, it needs gentleness and understanding. Part 2, When Too Clean Becomes Too Weak. I once thought that scrubbing harder meant staying healthier. But the truth is, the cleaner I tried to be, the weaker my skin became. The human body is far wiser than we give it credit for. On our skin lives a whole world of microorganisms, tiny but essential. They form a natural barrier, keeping our skin balanced and protected from harmful bacteria. Yet every time we shower too long, with water too hot or soap too strong, we unknowingly wipe that army away. The first time I read about the skin microbiome, I was amazed. It turns out that healthy skin doesn't have to be spotless or perfumed. Sometimes, a thin layer of natural oil or a trace of sweat is the best protection there is. So, as I grow older, I bathe more gently, less often, and with kinder products. Not out of laziness, but out of respect. Because this body already knows how to care for itself, as long as we don't interfere too much. And perhaps, learning to do a little less is a sign of wisdom, not neglect. Part 3, When a Slippery Floor is More Dangerous Than Dirt. We've all felt it, stepping onto a cold, wet tile floor, steam fogging the air, a trace of soap underfoot, one small slip, and your heart skips a beat. For the young, a fall might mean a bruise. But for someone in their 70s or 80s, it can change everything. I once watched a neighbor fall in her bathroom. It looked harmless, just a stumble, yet she spent 3 months in the hospital and never dared to bathe alone again. That's when I realized, sometimes, danger doesn't come from being not clean enough, but from trying too hard to stay that way. Bathing less often, but more safely, that's the smarter choice. A shower chair, a non-slip mat, a handheld nozzle, small things that help older adults keep what matters most, independence and peace of mind. Because after a lifetime of chasing perfection, what we truly want isn't spotless skin. It's the quiet comfort of knowing we can live each day safely, without fear of falling in a place meant for rest. Part 4, Water Isn't the Only Way to Stay Clean. We often equate clean with being freshly showered, as if water alone defines hygiene. But the older I get, the more I realize, cleanliness isn't about water, it's about care. When my father grew too weak to bathe daily, my mother would wipe him gently with a warm towel, his neck, underarms, hands, and feet, then help him change into fresh clothes. He still smelled clean, felt refreshed, and his skin looked healthier than before. That's when I understood, true cleanliness comes from attention, not repetition. Keeping a room airy, changing into dry clothes, moisturizing after washing, small habits like these bring more comfort than any long shower. You don't need heavy fragrances or rushing water. Just a soft towel, a bit of warmth, and a few slow minutes of care. Because at a certain age, you no longer need to scrub to feel clean, you only need to be gentle enough to let your body rest and breathe. Part 5. When and how to bathe without feeling exhausted. I once thought bathing was simple: turn on the water, wash, done. But watching my father struggle to catch his breath after a shower taught me that, for older bodies, bathing needs preparation too. After 70, the body loses stamina. Hot steam can drop blood pressure, cold water can shock the heart. Even standing too long can make the legs tremble. So how you bathe often matters more than how often. I tell my father to bathe mid-morning or early afternoon, when his body is warm and stable. Use water that's gently warm, never hot. If standing is tiring, sit on a low stool or use a handheld shower. And after bathing, take a moment to rest, let your breathing slow before moving on. At this age, bathing isn't just about washing, it's about relaxation. It's about knowing you can still care for yourself in a way that's calm, safe, and deeply respectful. Part 6. Bathing less isn't laziness, it's self-compassion. There was a time I thought older people bathed less because they were lazy. But after years beside my parents, I learned the truth: bathing less isn't neglect, it's an act of self-love. When we're young, we treat our bodies like machines, always pushing, demanding, expecting them to perform. But after 70, everything becomes more delicate: thinner skin, slower heartbeats, gentler breaths. The body simply can't endure the same intensity it once could. Bathing less doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding your limits and showing tenderness toward the body that's carried you all these years. Self-care isn't just eating well or sleeping enough, it's knowing when to stop and rest. Bathing less helps prevent dryness, fatigue, and falls. But more importantly, it reminds us we're still caring for ourselves, just in a slower, safer, more mindful way. Because true wisdom in aging lies in restraint, not resistance. Part 7. Turning bath time into a moment of meditation. At this age, I no longer see bathing as a task, but as a small moment to reconnect with myself. I like to crack the window, let the soft light in, and feel the steam drift slowly through the air. Warm water glides down my shoulders, unhurried, gentle, as if whispering, breathe, and thank your body for still being here. When you slow down, bathing becomes a kind of meditation. It's not about getting clean, it's about awareness. The beat of your heart, the rhythm of your breath, the quiet between each drop of water. When you let go of musts, must be clean, must be quick, must be perfect, you begin to feel truly alive in that simple, silent moment. I once told my father, "You don't have to bathe to be clean, bathe to feel light." He smiled and said, "Yes, now I feel refreshed, not just scented." Perhaps, at a certain age, bathing is no longer about water and soap, but about gratitude. Gratitude for the body, the breath, and another day of gentle living. Conclusion: choosing peace over perfection. The older I grow, the more I see, peace isn't about doing more, it's about knowing when to stop. Bathing less, resting more, it's not giving up, it's learning to live kindly with yourself. When we stop forcing our bodies to meet every standard, we begin to see that being healthy doesn't mean being spotless, it means being at ease. Every drop of water, every quiet breath can be a small thank you. For the hands that still move, the legs that still stand, the heart that still beats faithfully. That, I believe, is the true meaning of self-care. If this video brings you a little peace, please like to help spread calmness. Subscribe and share it with someone you care about. Sometimes, a gentle reminder is all it takes to make someone smile. Thank you for being here, softly, quietly, and enough.